Hello everybody, good afternoon. I'm a little late to making my tea, so you're gonna get the full process today. How are y'all doing? I'm gonna give everyone a few seconds to get on and to get comfortable. Today I'm back to drinking my floral green tea, which is really fun. Hey Yardley, hey Mal, welcome. So I'm just making my tea, getting nice and comfortable. Y'all go ahead and do the same. Hey Aunt Maria, welcome. It's a really pretty day here. I'm kind of bummed to be inside right now, but it's all good. Hey Hannah, welcome. I'm glad to see you live. So I have a little bit of sad news, but it's not really sad news, kind of. So I am switching this week. I'm only gonna do the one class. So we're doing the one class today, and then I'm going to post a poll for people to decide what times work best for them, so we can see about like establishing the next season's one class a week, what time is best for everyone who wants to participate live. I know a lot of people have shifted over because they like being able to pause and work from the recording. So a lot of people have shifted to just choosing to take the class by the recorded time. But for everyone who still wants to do it live, we'll do a little poll and we'll let everyone kind of decide what time is best for them if they want to do it live. So that's what we're doing this week, or starting this week. Y'all, this is so good. My parents brought this back for me on one of their last trips, and it's delicious. So today, we are doing my favorite flower, yellow tulips. Gosh, yeah, I just love them. So this is what my trial run looked like. It is definitely very doable. I'm excited about it. So I'm gonna flip this camera and I'm gonna show y'all what you need, and just kind of the general layout. So here we go. So here are our tulips. How exciting. You're gonna need a disposable or cleanable surface. You are gonna want some white acrylic. You want blue, yellow, and red. Some clean water, one brush that's about the thickness of a pinky nail. You can kind of see that. And then a pencil, a rag to clean things off with, and whatever surface you have around to draw and paint on. And obviously something tasty to drink. Hey Mary Margaret, welcome. So that is what we're looking at today. It's gonna be a fun class. Yellow tulips are my favorite flower of like all time. Like they're just like, I just love them. They look like painted sunshine to me. They smell delicious. They're strong. I just think they're the best. So I'm really excited about today's class. I had these because my mom saw them in the store and thought of me, which was super sweet. So yeah, we're gonna have fun with it. The first thing we do every class, we're just gonna take a deep breath. So let everything wash away. Take this moment right now to take all of your frustrations, all of your anxieties, all your stressors, and just take them off your shoulders and put them to the side. For the next hour, we're gonna focus on something beautiful. We're gonna focus on learning how to mix colors, on learning how to draw these shapes. And we're just going to cue in on something lovely and just dwell there. So everything else that stresses you out, everything else that you have to do later, that does not matter right now. We are focusing in on things that are beautiful and things that are worthwhile, and we're just gonna have fun with it. This is all about skill building. Remember, this is all about growth, and this is not about perfection or achievement. So it does not matter how the end product turns out. It's always great when it turns out beautiful, but that does not matter. So just focus in, enjoy the process. It's gonna be a fun time. So let's go ahead and get started. So you know, I've got to get my setup so that I can see y'all's comments and make sure that my phone doesn't die. So give me 2 seconds. Just plug all my contraptions in and get steady. Okay, does that look good? I think it does. Onward. Go. There we are. And I can see y'all's comments. So if y'all have any questions as we're going, just ask me questions and I'll help you out as we go. First thing we're gonna do, as with every class, is we're gonna observe our beautiful flower. So the great thing about the tulip that I love so much is the petals are strong and waxy. So you kind of, I don't know if you can really catch it right now, but it catches a beautiful reflection because it's just such a waxy kind of texture. And that's the same thing with their leaves too. You can kind of, it's very sturdy, very thick, very waxy, very strong. We've got multiple petals coming up. Hey Alex, hey babe. Multiple petals coming up. We see a nice sharp highlights, really soft kind of creases in between the petals that are on the outside. There are also petals in the inside. The leaves are very thick. They'll have these long kind of pointy leaves. Some of them bend down, some of them go straight up, some of them ruffle in. We're gonna try and tackle that maybe. What else? Thick stems. The stems are a lighter green than the leaves, which are a dark green. And then you see just kind of like a reddish purple green detail right here at the base, and then it blends into this lighter green. Yeah, we've got all kinds of good stuff today. So let me get that set up the way I want it. I think I'm happy with that composition. And we're just gonna tackle and see what we create in this hour. I'll go ahead and warn you, the most difficult part of this painting today is going to be the leaves and stems. I'm sure you can already tell we've got some overlap, we've got some gradation, we've got some kind of ruffled in, a lot of overlaying with each other. So that's gonna be our most challenging bit. Our flower is gonna be the easy peasy part. So let's go ahead and get started with drawing. I'll set this up to where it's more aesthetically pleasing. Let's get started with that drawing and we'll dive in. Y'all let me know if you have any questions. I've got my comments up so I can see them as they come. So the first thing we're gonna tackle is we're just gonna go ahead and tackle the bulbs, like the flower bulbs. So, is it a bulb? No, the bulb is what goes in the ground, right? Someone tell me, what goes in the ground? What is this? The actual flower itself. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna tackle this main oval. It's kind of like a squarish oval, but we're just gonna, the inside one, we'll add the outside petals separately. So this is just the inside petal that's gonna be an oval. So I'm starting nice and tall. There we go, oval. Now I'm gonna tackle the petals on the other sides. Fun fact, y'all, this was actually one of the first flowers that I learned how to draw when I was a kid. And it's because the structure is just so beautifully simple, it's easy to do the drawing itself. So I'm just kind of adding those little lines coming out on the outside. And I'm just gonna draw the beginning of my stem. So it kind of V's. You see that? I kind of have it pulling in. So I'm starting and I kind of V it in and then drop it down. V, drop, so it tapers. All right, so that's the beginning of my tulip. And we're gonna come over here, we're gonna leave the middle just kind of undealt with for right now, because that's gonna be a lot of intricate decision making, so we're just gonna go ahead and get those flowers drawn in. So let's start with this one. With this one it had one big center petal and then two sides. This one, we see one big side one and then a fun, roughly side one with just a little bit of the middle peeking out. So we're gonna paint that, draw that accordingly. So let's draw that one big side one, another oval, about the same size as the other one. And it actually needs to be a little bit wider than what I drew. So I'm just gonna bump that out just a little bit. And I'll erase the line that I don't like. If any of y'all did my, hey Danny, welcome. If any of y'all did the class on yellow jasmine, you'll remember that yellow paint is very transparent. So it shows a lot of the stuff underneath it. So we're gonna be playing with that today a little bit, but for the most part, let's just get going like normal. We're not gonna do a paint by numbers this time around. Okay, so I'm gonna do this side one now. So I'm gonna do a little bit of that ruffle. So I'm just gonna go in a little bit, out a little bit, and back in. So kind of a very lazy kind of S wave. It points at the top, and then I'm pulling it around, just like that. And then I'm gonna do that third petal coming in and just closing that gap. And I'm also, mine is a little bit wonky, so I'm just adding another little line right there. Wesselby, welcome back. All right, do the same thing that we did with the other one. We're gonna V in, taper it in, and then just pull towards the center a little bit, but we're not going all the way in. All right? And then let's go ahead and tackle this one. In this one, we see 3 main petals. So we see a big side petal, a big middle petal, and then a skinny side. So let's go ahead and let's start with the middle one, and then we'll add our 2 sides. So same thing, we're just gonna do this one's a thinner oval. And then we're gonna add that other. Hello, Melania, welcome. Just like that. And then we've got this skinny guy coming in. And same thing, we're just gonna create that little taper, and just pull it in a little bit. All right, so that is our flowers drawn, which is a very exciting thing. And now we're gonna try and tackle our leaves. So here is something to where when I did the trial run and I did this little wrinkle, it honestly created some problems for me. So I'm gonna teach it without the kind of ripple, just because it's difficult with the size of a brush that we're working with, and it just kind of added more struggle and less beauty, or really didn't add any beauty for me. So I'm gonna pretend like that's not there, and we're just gonna do the one skinny line coming down. So let's start up here like it is on the actual flower, and pull it down. So I'm kind of ending it a little bit overlapped. I pulled that line down, but a little bit overlapped with our actual stem. And now I'm gonna just pull it down. Nice and skinny, like that. Y'all with me? Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and tackle this one right here that does have a really pretty ripple also. It's a little bit easier to deal with. So I'm gonna start right around here. And sorry, I'm trying to view it through the lens so that I don't mess things up by y'all's shots. So I'm pulling this down, and it's gonna come to the edge of this one and go straight down like that. And then I'll do my wider one coming down. And then I'll inside add my ripple. That makes sense? So I did my long outer line, or I guess it's inside this whole structure. Long one coming down, then I did the wide one coming out, and then inside I just took this lazy S and drew that down. Now I'm gonna take my stem and connect it. How we doing? All right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna tackle this little bend coming down. So we see it also overlaps with our stem a little bit further down. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this out because I went too heavy with it. So I'm gonna overlap right here, and then I'm gonna right angle it. Okay. Now I'm gonna come back up to where this fold meets the stem right here. And I'm gonna pull it like this, just kind of going over. Okay, now I'm gonna bring it to its point. Then finally, I'm gonna take a little line and I'm gonna draw this connection. Slightly arched, bringing it to its tip, bringing it to its point. Okay, y'all still with me? Now we're going to, you can continue that first line, this line right here, continue it down a little bit further. Take right here, where the stem would have met, and pull an outside line coming down. Alrighty. Lots of lines, lots of additions. It's gonna look great, y'all just gotta trust me. Though, don't hate me. Don't hate me, y'all. Okay, I'm actually gonna take that line back. I didn't like it. It's better to fix it now than when we're painting later. Come back up to this top spot. Come back up to here and bring it in this way. Yes. That is much more what I wanted. I'm sorry, y'all. We've talked about this before. I don't always get it right. Okay, so now let's switch over. If you're happy with these lines, I'll re-show you. We did this line coming out and then going a 90-degree angle. We did the bottom of this stem, and we just arched it over and then brought it down. We connected this line right here and created that point, and then we came right around here and we dropped it down nice and loose. All right, now let's pop over to this guy. We've got this one right here that's kind of spiraling, going around. Let me get lower so it doesn't go out of focus. We've got this guy right here coming around our leaf. It's not touching this one yet, but it's close. So we're gonna go to the point of it so that we know where it's going, and just go ahead and pull straight down. I gave mine a little bit of a curve, but it doesn't need too much of one. Then come to the point of that, and we're gonna come out a little bit, kind of triangular, and pull it back in. Now we're going to take a little bit of a wave and come behind our flower and then pull it in. Now go ahead and we'll pull this stem down to fold in. So you might need to bend your stem a little bit to make sure it folds in just right. Hey Tarv, welcome. But we're going like that. And then we'll add that one last leaf coming out, but I'm actually gonna move it away from my flower just because compositionally I prefer that. So we can do that if we want to. So grab a point over here-ish, pull it in, and pull it behind. And erase the spot where it overlaps. Y'all, this is gonna be pretty. How are we doing? We good with the drawing? Does anyone need me to go back to any specific leaves or anything? I'm gonna take a sip of my tea and give y'all a second to let me know if there are any leaves, any stems that you want me to go back to, because we will go back if you want me to. This tea is excellent. All right, I'm taking your silence as you telling me that you are ready to move on. So first thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna start with straight yellow, and we're gonna cover in the colors of our actual tulips. If y'all remember, this is a very transparent color, and so we can go straight over top of these flowers and it's still gonna show the lines that we've drawn. Hey Jillian. Wow, we've got the whole Tarver family now. Okay, so we're just gonna paint yellow over top. You can go over your, like we're staying inside the outer lines, but you can go over your pencil lines and you'll see that mine is not covering over it. So we're just putting that base color of yellow in. The only thing you need to worry about is try and keep a nice hard line on the outer edge, but inside just fill it in, quick and dirty. And I didn't even do a great job of staying inside the lines. So. Jillian, you and Tarver should both join in and do one of these paintings together and then just share how the two of y'all's turn out. What the difference is, what the similarities are. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Okay, quick and fast, that is our yellow tulips filled in. So you at least got that far. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move to our stems. and our leaves and mix our green. So we've got our yellow on the board. Let's add some blue to it. And remember, when I'm mixing, I don't necessarily mix all that's on my paint palette together at one time. I'll do a little dragging. So I'll take a little bit of each and mix it together, and then I can add more, drag more in as I need more yellow or more blue. So it kind of helps me to not go through as much paint. I've been doing, these were not new paint tubes when I first started these classes, and I've been doing at least 4 of these paintings a week, and I still have about half my tubes of paint. So it helps to do this method of kind of putting the amount that you want on the board, and then dragging and mixing as you go. It just makes life easier. It also goes faster. Okay, so same thing. We are not going to do our stems just yet. So this is where things got tricky for me when I was doing my mock-up for y'all. So we've got this straight green mixed. It's just a straight up standard green, blue and yellow. And we're going to paint in the word is leaves. There it is. So not the stems, we're not tackling the stems yet. We're just gonna paint over our leaves. And it should, yep, it's not covering the pencil marks. So just paint over everything that is leaf. We're putting that blanket color in, try and stay inside your lines, inside your outer lines, but don't worry about the rest. We're painting everything that is a leaf with this straight green mixture. Nice and simple. If you ever find that your paint is kind of doing this right here, where it's not creating a hard line for you, you can always mix in a little bit of water with your color and it'll make it glide a lot more smoothly. So just fill that in, try and stay inside the lines. You know me, so you know that I've already messed that up myself and gone outside the lines. But this is all about fun, so who really cares if you mess that up? I don't. Just clean off your brushes as you need to. Try not to get sloppy like me. Make sure they don't gunk up and that there's only paint on the very edges of it. And just focus in on the lines that we're working with to make sure you're painting what you're supposed to be painting. It can get a little tricky. Already, y'all, this is already better than my first draft. But look what I've just done. So as I was telling you to pay attention to the lines, I totally neglected the fact that that was in between my leaves. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna create a new line. So starting here, I'm just gonna go just like that. And there we go, it's fixed. So y'all just don't give up hope if you accidentally mess up a line. You don't have to start all the way over again. Just kind of recreate it, reimagine it. This is an organic shape, and organic shapes never look perfect. If they do, they look manufactured. So, just keep rolling. Is this going well for everybody? Is anyone stressed out or upset with me yet? Hey, Miss Gina, welcome. Y'all can let me know if I am stressing you out. Also, you can always flip your paintings, so that's important to know. You can always flip them to get a better angle if you need to get like one of these points. Just flip it over and work from the other side. Beautiful. Any of you who haven't done one of these with me before, just a friendly reminder that this is a first layer. So it does not matter too much if you're seeing brush strokes and some parts look darker than others. That's totally fine. It's not anything to stress over because we're going to cover over this with more colors and more mixtures. This is just our first layer of getting things on the page. All right. So mine's pretty much filled out, but I have been instructed in the past to give y'all a second, so I'll wait just a second and get a sip of my tea while you finish up. So good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to do some of our stem work. So we're going to add a little bit of white. If you need more of your blue or yellow on your palette, you can go ahead and put some of that on your paint palette as well. I think I've used most of my yellow, so I'll probably put a little bit more yellow on my palette. And remember, we just put the colors on there and then we'll drag them over where we need them. So that's good. We're mixing this lighter stem color now. So clean your brush off a little bit. It's okay if you have a little bit of water on it. That's just gonna make it flow well, like we've talked about. So I'm gonna pull a little bit more yellow into this mixture. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of white and mix that in too. So we're mixing a nice soft lime green. And I'll show you the color before I put it on. So that's kind of, my brush needs to be washed, but that's the color we're looking at. So I'm gonna rinse my brush off. And then we've done this before, but I'll show you again. I'm gonna flatten my brush. So the way I do it is I pinch it like this between my thing and I pull, and now I've got a nice flat point. And you can do that as much as you need to throughout the class. So I've mixed that up, and now I'm gonna come inside my stems. And I'm just gonna paint the inside of my stems very carefully. And remember, you can move these papers around as you need to be able to get the right angle. Just paint inside these lines as best you can. And already, y'all, this is looking pretty. It's not hard, it's a tulip, and tulips are gorgeous, so. Okay. So while we have this color mixed, go ahead and mix a little bit more. And we're gonna add a little bit of our detail that we want in our flower leaves. You know what I mean, our leaves. So, one thing that I like about these is, see right here on this ruffle, the outer bit has a light colored ruffle that blends in, and then we have our stem coming down, and then we have little pops of this light color. So it's really on the edge and then it comes in. So get a nice flat brush, so that means we're gonna flatten our brush like that. Dip a little bit in this color, and we're going to start with the one that's most obvious. So I'll teach you on this one right here. So I'm gonna take the line, the pencil line that I drew, and I'm just drawing a thin line, thin light colored line along that pencil line that I can still see. Cool? And we're gonna start with just doing the outlines. So we're not gonna blend just yet, we're just gonna put those lines in. I'm gonna do the same thing on this one. So my pencil line right here, I'm pulling it in all the way down. It's the middle one that I'm doing on this one, the one that we drew at first that has that right angle. I'm pulling it like that. Y'all are doing great. All right, now with this one, at the corner right here, I'm going to do a little bit like this. So what I basically just did is I just drew a little triangle at the 90-degree angle. Welcome, Cassidy. So just a little triangle right here at that 90-degree angle. Y'all are doing awesome. Thanks for hanging with me. Okay, now we're gonna pop over, really, I'll do this one right here, and we're gonna do that inside pencil line that we can still see, and we're gonna drag it down. Pulling it down. If you run out of paint, you know how to mix it. It is just a simple light lime green, so it's yellow, blue, and white. Just pull in more as you need it. Remember, we're not mixing all of our colors at a time. We leave our colors a little bit on that palette so that we can always mix a little bit more without having to pull our paint tubes out. And you can always reflatten your brush. My brush has gotten a little chunky, so you can always reflatten that. Okay. And then I'm gonna do this one right here too. The bottom line on this right here. So I need to rotate it a little bit for myself. And I'm gonna do this line right here. It's gone a little bit outside of the line that I drew before, that's okay. This is the most difficult part of this painting, y'all. So if we can get through it, we're gonna be in good hands. And so with this one, we changed this leaf up because I didn't want to tackle that ruffle because it didn't really add that much. So we're just gonna do this kind of interior line right here, this one right here with the highlight. So I'm gonna flip mine so I can get a better angle. And I'm gonna follow this pencil mark. Mix more paint if you need it. Follow it all the way down. Okay. Trying to keep that on top. How are we doing, y'all? Let me know if you have any questions. Okay. Looking back, I also see right here, this part right here needs to be a light color, okay? So I'm just gonna take my light color and paint it right there. So nothing too fancy, nothing too special, I'm just putting my light color right there. And then right here, on this one right here, it has a little bit more light at the base. So in the center, I'm just gonna draw a little bit of that light and just flick it up. Not going all the way up, just flicking it up. So right here, I just took it right here and just flicked. And then lastly for right now, I'm gonna mix a little bit more water in because my paint's drying. So I just gotta keep that nice and fluid. The more you work with this, the more you'll kind of get a feel for what the paint needs to be like. On this one right here, it has a little bit wider of a light spot. So I'm just gonna widen the light spot right here a little bit. Not covering over completely, just widening that light spot. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add that little bit of light color right here at the very base. So just on the inside, I'm just flicking it up. So a little bit right there with a flick. Good job, y'all. Next, we're gonna mix our darker green. So I'm actually gonna add a little bit of red to my palette because we know that when we mix all three primary colors together, we get brown. And so if I want an olivey green, I need to be mixing brown with green, which means I need my green to have just a little bit of red in it. So I'm gonna come over here. This green that I've mixed already has white mixed in with it, so I'm not gonna pull to that section. Instead, I'm gonna pull over here. So I'll mix my green first. So this is how we mixed our true green that was our base. Now to make it a little bit darker, I'm gonna add more blue to it. And then I'm going to take just a touch of red and I'm going to mix that in too. I'm not trying to make a true brown, I'm just trying to make a deeper, darker green. So this is the color I've just mixed. That right there. Okay, so feel free to, if your brush like mine is glumpy, just kind of flatten that out. Get some more on the edge, and we're gonna do the same thing we've done before, and we're gonna do a little outline. So we'll start again with this one, and on the other side of our light line, you see we have that dark line. So we have that light line right up against that dark line, and that's kind of what shows us that it's folding over. So on the other side of my highlight, I'm gonna add this low light. Make sure you have a nice flat brush for this. Just like that. And I'm actually gonna pull it over my stem. There you go. That's what we've got right now. Okay, so I'm gonna do the low light on the other side as well. So on the outer edge, right there, and pull it down. Good job, y'all. You're hanging with me. I appreciate that. This is gonna turn out good. You just gotta trust me. Okay, we're gonna go on this one now, right here, and we're gonna do this outside edge and coming down. So coming on the inside of this flower, y'all, words. Coming on the inside of this leaf, and then the outer top edge right here. We're just gonna create that line. And just bring it down. Just like that. And we're keeping going. And if you can see, what I did a little bit right here is I brought this line down and I let it go a little bit thicker to the highlight. So I brought this a little bit thicker to the highlight right there. Hey Craig, welcome. Okay, continuing on with our low lights. So we are going to go ahead, and we did the highlight for this one on this side, so we're gonna do the low light on the other side and pull it down. So move that paintbrush around as you need to. I mean painting the paper. Words, y'all. All right, and create that low light. And just follow those pencil lines that are still there for you, helping you out. And just let them kind of help guide you. Mix more paint as you need to. You know how to mix this color. It's yellow and blue to make a nice true green, and then you mix just a touch of red into it to make it a darker green. It seems counterintuitive. You would think that a black would do better, but we know that you don't need black to mix these colors. Too black will kind of dull out the color, whereas mixing the primary colors together to make your colors will typically give you more vibrancy. So let's go ahead and let's do this one right here, that line. Ooh, dark. I remixed and it was a lot darker. Okay, so I'm pulling it down, but I'm also going to trace the outside of my stem. And I'll pull that in. Just like that. Good job. And I'm also going to go ahead, and I'm not filling in this inside bit, but I'm going to pull that line down too. There we go. So you see I left a little bit of that former color, but I just created that line so it looks like a fold. And now I'm going to come on the inside of my light line right here and draw a line going down. Y'all let me know if you have questions. And then on the outside, I'm going to draw a line also. Woo. Move it around if you need to. Mix in water if it's not gliding properly. Just pull that down. We're about there with the leaves right now. You know, we'll always come back, but for right now, we're almost at our stopping point. So we've just got a few more lines to add in. So we'll go ahead and do this outside line and the bottom line right here. So I pulled that in, pulled that in. And now let's do this line right here. Move it if you need to. I definitely needed to move mine. Okay. I'll give you a second, and then we will move on with a new color. For those of you who have not done this class before, just know if you are in the live class, we're going to go straight to the hour mark. And then if we still need to work a little bit more at that point, I'll close this live out, and then I'll open a new live where you can ask questions and we can work through the finishing of the painting. But if you are doing the recording, feel free at any point to just go ahead and stop this recording, pause when you need time to work, and then at any time, I don't care if it's a week later, a month later, months, plural later, you can always reach out to me in my DMs, send me a picture of what you're working with, and ask me questions. I'm happy to help you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. You are not doing this alone. I'm here with you. Okay, the next color we're gonna mix up is this really pretty kind of soft brown. It's like a reddish green, soft reddish green brown. So I'm gonna take yellow and blue, make that green as my base, which was way too strong of a blue. We live and we learn. Take some red, so I'm turning it into a brown. And it is not a dark color by any stretch of the imagination. So let's go ahead and pull some white in. And we should be getting a nice, light, greenish brown. Just a little more red in if you need. Might need just a touch more red. Here is the color that I've just mixed. So when you see it in comparison, you see that change of color. But let's go ahead and put that on. If it's not the exact right color, put it on all three of them, and then we'll go back later and mix the right color. This is not a place to get stopped up on. So just kind of put whatever you've mixed on there, and we can come back to it and I'll talk you through the mix. But don't get stopped here, because this is just a brief stopping point for us. What I'm doing is I'm just adding just a little bit on there, because you see it changes colors to that light green, but it starts off with that color. So mine is not the perfect color. That's okay. I'll come back later to work on it. So just kind of fill in that inner triangle, that top triangle, and then pull it down some, but not all the way. Just like that. And go ahead and wipe your brush off. So get your brush nice and clean. We are about to move on for the time being towards our flowers. So for the flowers, we're just gonna need some straight yellow and white first. So a lot of my yellow is contaminated with green, so I'm pulling it over here. I'm gonna mix some white in. And I'm making a nice creamy yellow. That's the color. A nice creamy yellow. I told y'all before, I love this flower because it feels like painted sunshine to me. And here's why. We've got that creamy yellow. We're just gonna pull it down. I'm doing 3 lines on that one. So 3 brush strokes. So just kind of, don't fill it completely, but just add in some brush strokes to give that kind of waxy, like fingering up of the flowers and the flower petals. So just pull that up. And already, doesn't that give it so much dimension from the start? It's amazing. Well done. Okay, now we are going to take this kind of mixed yellow and white, so it has a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white, and I'm going to bring some red into the mix. I am not making a true orange. I am just making more of a mustardy yellow. Add more paint to your palette if you need to. So I'm just making kind of a deeper yellow, not a true orange. So I've got a little bit of that red in there, a little bit of white to add that thickness and that kind of keep it from being transparent. And I'm mixing up this kind of deep yellow, not quite orange color. Let me wipe off my brush and then I'll show you. That color right there. You see, it's not truly orange. It's just a richer color. And so flatten that brush out. We're gonna cover our pencil lines now with this color. So I didn't do the full exterior because I'm noticing that the exterior tends to be a lighter color, but these interior spots where the petals overlap, I literally just painted that petal. These interior spots right here, these lines where we have our pencil lines marking the changes, they're more of this kind of color. So go ahead and paint the interior pencil lines with this color. Audrey, welcome. Just like that. And you know I'm all about that dimension, so that's all we're doing. We're just adding that dimension in. So while you have it, go ahead and hit the bottom of your flowers too, in just kind of a line going across. So just kind of covering the bottom of these flowers. Just like that. And I'm gonna take just a little bit of this color to do this top spot. So you see how this top spot has a little bit where it bows back in? So I'm gonna do a little bit of that top with the line, but make sure you flatten that brush out. And just kind of hit a little bit of these little top lines. We still good? Y'all with me? I'm gonna take a truer yellow now. I'm mixing more yellow into that color, a little bit of white in. And I'm just gonna add another series of lines going down our flowers. So, just adding another line, another line. These don't matter super much. We're just adding some dimension in. So just kind of pull this down. Y'all, so my comment screen keeps showing me that my video is paused, that my live video is paused. Is this happening for y'all, or is it just happening for my secondary feed? Let me know if it's pausing on y'all too, and I'll figure something out for next time. So I'm adding in some lines, nice and simple. I'm not covering over the light lines. I'm just adding some dimension, just like that. Okay, so clean off those brushes. And we're gonna add some brighter highlights now. So I'm gonna take just a little bit of this yellow, I'm gonna pull it over here, and a lot of white. So we've made a lot of tinted whites before. This is more of a tinted white. Okay, so a lot lighter. Actually gonna add a little bit more white in. And get a nice flat point of your brush. And then right around here, you're just gonna add in the middle some strokes kind of going up. And this is just giving us that waxy reflection. Just like that. So staying more towards the center, not going fully to the top or fully to the side. We're just kind of really going around the bend of the flower. And where the light picks up, we're just adding that little bit of white. And that just gives us that waxy reflection that we love so much. Aunt Maria, is it pausing for you? It shows me on my video that it's pausing, but it doesn't look like it's pausing on the actual live feed. That's what's confusing me. Now we've got this light color mixed up. I'm just gonna add a few highlights on my stems as well. So make sure you have a nice flat brush. So clean that off, flatten the edge, so flatten it. We've got just a few more minutes left on the live video, but remember we will switch over to do like little closing comments and questions. So I've got this light color. Oh, it is pausing, I'm so sorry. We'll figure this out. So I'm taking this nice light color and I'm just gonna go back over some of my highlights that I already drew. So this is a lighter color than before. Flattening this out. And I'm just pulling back over top of my highlight colors and pulling that in. So just not everywhere, but just in some of the places. I'm just adding a little bit softer of a highlight. Yeah, we'll figure this out. I'm not sure if like people are coming back to work and so the Wi-Fi is getting used more. I don't know what's going on, but I'll figure it out and see what we can do to make sure that we have a smoother video in the future. Okay, I'm going to do the highlight on this one as well. Just recovering over that highlight that we did before. Pulling it down. Same thing over here. So we're just adding that dimension to our flowers. All right. Now, if you are in the live, we will reopen a new one in a minute. But if you're in the recording, go ahead. Here is your screenshot of my painting so that you can look at it later. Here is the actual flower. Here is a screenshot of them both. Again, here's the painting. And then if you're in the recording, thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has been fun for you. I am really happy with how mine turned out, but please post pictures. Let me see what you've made too. So tag me in your pictures that you post and use the hashtag LovelyThingsToCome so that we can all celebrate what you've made and all see what everyone's creating in this class. If you're in the live, I'm gonna close this out and then I'll reopen a new one, so don't hop off just yet. Otherwise, y'all have a great day. I'm so glad you joined me for painting. I had a lot of fun and I hope you did too. Bye y'all.